Peace, peace, peace. Still clear light bulb lessons. All we need is seven, and seven is God, as you already know. I want to say the time on deck is probably about 12:50 East Coast. It's late, but I had something on my mind and I felt like, hey, what better than to just come and build? Let's build about it, you all. Because if we don't build, we destroy. It's that simple. I'm on the East Coast. Again, Coach Timothy T.O. Clay. And around this time last night, something that took place, as you can see on the screen, it's got a lot of people upset. A lot of people are feeling in ways that for some, it's just truly undescribable. So the way I choose to combat it is pretty simple, man. It's with light, and we all possess that. If you ever heard me speak, if you've ever been in my environment or my circumference, I'm speaking about light. If I don't wake up in the morning, I know tonight I left it on the line with what we all possess, which is that light. And we're gonna get into it, man. But it's simple. What's the build tonight? The build tonight is in honor of last night, because around this time, what took place is not only the United States, it's got the whole world on a frenzy. And like I said, the only way that I see any improvement is to build on all that is positive. So, leadership in the fire of political impropriety, leadership in the fire of political impropriety. And I'm not the one, you all, I'm not the one that ever will come on live just jumping on the trend. You know what I mean? That's not my style. That's not how I choose to get down. I don't find peace with that. Like whatever's going on in the world, I gotta go live and speak my piece on it. I don't feel that way. I'm being honest when I tell you. Uh the last night though, and what I've seen all day today, man, it's brought people out that I've never seen speak on a political vibe or political front. I've never seen it. But today they felt some earnest within their spirit to come out and speak how they feel. And I think that's healthy. If you don't speak how you feel, uh, we know how that can end up. Leadership in the fire of political impropriety, and responding with light when the world looks dark. And that's what we choose to do. Shout out to all my peoples out there, all my loved ones, from mom, dad to my wife to my children, all my peoples out there, man. I love you dearly. And if you see this, trust me, it's not the run of the mill social media type rant. We really build. So with that, again, I'm Coach T.O. Clay, and welcome to another session of the Light Lessons, man, because that's how we get down. We just live right now. I feel like, hey, right now is a great time. Could have built earlier about it, but I said, you know what? Hey, let's keep it within that same vein. Um, as leaders, man, we don't just talk, man. We literally inspire to try to transform. That's a big difference, you all. We literally try to eat, live, breathe transformation, implementation, and real breakthrough. And political impropriety. What is it, man? It's the unethical type things. It's the immoral. Those illicit actions, man. That can be executed by anyone. But in some of these cases that we're seeing, it's with public officials. Excuse me. You can call it whatever you choose. The abuse of power or personal gain, undue influence, whatever. But the reality is violating the public's trust. And who's the public? The public's all of us. Every single one of us comprise and make up the public. So if there's any type of impropriety, I know a lot of times when we think of impropriety, we think of just financial. and yeah, it really gets into that. But all sorts of things are covered under that. If you go look it up, you'll see it. It spans with the nepotism, uh, election fraud. What else, man? Uh, just straight out just lying, and it often, is leading to weakened institutions. I served in an institution for 23 long years, you all. Some of my closest partners, man, they served for 30 years. Shout out to every one of them. They know who they are. To be a part of an institution for 30 years, uh, you start to understand the moral ethics that come along with that. You start to understand, as we call it, oh, you're an Orkin man now. You're an Orkin woman. Like you're part of this company for real, for real. And you start to understand that there's just certain things as a leader that you must comprise. So I'm not going to be on here long. Trust me, man. I have to build on it. As you look at these two faces on the screen, you feel how you feel. I've walked in buildings for many years and saw these faces up on what we call the bulkhead, or as some know it as the wall. I'd walk by it 100 times a day. Sometimes I paid attention, sometimes I didn't. But the reality is, I'm sitting in my home and I have a 11-year-old son that looks me in my face and says, "Dad, did you see what's all over the news? What do you think about it, Dad?" And it's crazy because I was already sitting here where I'm at right now in the lab. And I said, "Hey, son, I'm about to build. That's what we do. We're going to build. We're not going to sit around and be all emotionally bugged out, or pointing fingers of who, what, when, and why. We're going to build. We're going to educate. We want to take the frequency higher, son. That's what we do." So some of those examples, like I talked about, of that political impropriety, man, is violations of the norm. Just simple violation of the norm. It's not always an illegal thing, but it's actions that, traditionally just break that overall political etiquette, man. I'm just being 100, you all, when I think of Abraham Lincoln, when I think of FDR, when I think of John F. Kennedy, everything I've ever seen with any of those gentlemen on anything, a documentary on Netflix, whatever it may be, I've seen the display of the etiquette within. That's what I've seen. Has nothing to do with me being African American. It has to do with any civil human being looking and just seeing that political etiquette, man. Those ethical standards that really mean something. Um, also another example is impact on society. We see the impact throughout today. Like I said, I saw people post today that I've never seen post anything politically. Never. They may post about their family, they may post about what they're going to cook tomorrow. But man, I saw people taking to social media today. I said, wow, man, this hits different right here. Um, because again, things like that, as we all know, like I said, the photo on the screen, man, you think how you think, you feel how you feel, but we know it causes significant damage. We know it. If that one little bitty word is tossed in there, racism, it causes damage, man. It brings a vibe that it's crazy, So again, the erosion of trust is another one. Erosion of trust, man. I want my mother to trust me. I want my brother and sister. I want my children, my wife, her family, my friends. I want my neighbor, Mr. Gene next door, Braxton Cosby next door. I want them to trust me, man. If I walk out of my driveway and I see them, I want that trust. I don't want it to be some erosion of trust based on me acting some old weird old crazy type way, man. So, that diminished public confidence, that we're talking about here, this political impropriety, it erodes, man. There's no other way of looking at it. It's inefficient in its own right. Um, so again, I just want to give you that precursor of impropriety, man. Don't look at the word just solely based on money. Look at the governance aspect of it. Look at leadership in terms of who is in office, regardless if it's the current sitting, the past as you see on the screen, or the future. It could be your kid. I tell my son all the time, son, truly, you could be the president of the United States of America, you know, for which it stands. So uh, it's so much, man, when you start looking at that just one word, impropriety. Some will say, well, how can you take impropriety and correlate that, Coach T.O. Clay, with uh, a meme or a picture that was posted about a certain individual? Man, trust me, it's all tied in together. You know, the Super Bowl's about to happen. You know, in a couple days, we're going to see the Super Bowl. You know, they're talking about government shutdowns. There's all sorts of stuff that gets tossed out there that could keep us way off track of what's really happening. But that is piss poor, is piss poor leadership on all levels, regardless of who loves it, who hates it. It is That's not real. So tonight we're addressing something very heavy, like I said, that many people are talking about all across the country, across the world, and that something has brought a lot of emotions. It's something very real. Uh, the reports is all out there, man. I looked, I said, wow, bro, every news outlet that you could think of, every blog that you could think of, social media going nuts, all based on this one image of a former president and his wife, you all. It's one thing, yo, if you diving in on him, but his wife as well. Like, come on, man. We gotta be better. And that imagery to many people, it's very hurtful, man. That imagery is hurtful. I spoke to my parents earlier today. We didn't even talk about it. I have a rental property. My parents trying to help me with my rental property. It's been really cold up there and trying to make sure pipes don't bust and all that good stuff. We didn't even talk about it. But like I said, my 11-year-old son, first words out of his mouth is, Dad, you see what's going on. It's disrespectful, you know, whether that particular individual did it himself or whether it was a staff member, man, under the umbrella of leadership, man, that is asinine, either which way you look at it. So listen carefully, man. When I tell you this, man, we're gonna hit this light and we out of here, man. This session, this build is definitely not about no politics, man. This is about how we, as the common day, every day, man, how we rock, how we move, how we decide, in our day to day dealings, man. It's about leadership. If you ever hear me running my gyms about anything, it's about leadership, man, and how we could take leadership and put ourselves in that other frequency that we're not running around, man, feeling these crazy feelings, man, that is not going to do anything positive on no level. Because let's be honest, man, real leaders must know how to operate. We have to know how to operate, man. Even when the world's divided, when the country's divided, when the state's divided, when your town is divided, when your church is divided, when your home, your household's divided, man. As a leader, you got to know how to operate. Um, and anytime there's any type of motion, things like last night, George Floyd, uh, Charlie Kirk, whatever it is, man. As leaders, man, we got to truly know how to operate, man. And the true character of us as leaders, it's not revealed in the calm water, you all. It's never been. That true leadership is revealed in the storm. When things get real, when they get sticky, when they get murky. So again, I choose to take the simple word light, and we use that word light to enlighten ourselves, to enlighten our families, our environment, our circumference. And what is light? L is love, I is intellect, G is greatness, H is health, and T, as we all know, man, is definitely truth. And that truth of last night, hey, we have to address it, man. We sit back silent about things like that. Uh, it's not about, oh, is something in the White House going to change tonight because I'm on this live speaking my spirit? No. But again, if I could reach one and their light fills that, and they shine their light to someone else and their light fills that, and then they shine that light to someone else, we're doing what we're supposed to do. So man, let's get it, man. A leader's first response is not reaction. I'll say it again. A leader's first response is not reaction. It has to be self-control. We all know this, man, regardless of what outfit, what situation we're in. Because in terms of that love, peace, as that L and light, you know, when we see something offensive, you all, disrespectful, whether it's in the grocery store, at McDonald's, Walmart, wherever, or hurtful, our first instinct is to get emotional about it. We start getting emotional and we have these emotional reactions. We get angry, man. We feel that frustration. We feel that real pain. You know, when I first looked at that last night, I was like, wow, man, I felt a little bit different because I met the man in person. I know how that man treated myself and JJ Ragland at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, and we got to spend good, honest time with him. And one of my first cousins worked with the man throughout his whole campaign, throughout both terms. My cousin Kenny out of Austin, Texas, man, TCU grad. So it hit a little bit different, but that pain, that frustration, that anger, what does it really cause? It causes division. But listen to me, man, when I tell you all this, man, the reaction is natural. Uh, Leadership is intentional. And as leaders, man, we have to ask ourselves, man, will my response bring heat or is it going to bring light? What's my response going to be when I'm in these bugged out situations? Or like I see something like we saw last night. What's my response? Is my response to act the same, spew that same bogusness and rhetoric? Will I inflame it? Or am I going to choose to elevate it, man? I choose to elevate it. That's all jokes aside. That's why we build on this right now. It's almost 1 in the morning, East Coast time, but it's all good. Tomorrow, Saturday, and I think the time right now is prevalent. It's very important. Will I divide or will I guide, man? And I'm asking you the same thing, leader. You're a leader out there. Are you going to take moments like last night, absorb it, and continue the divide, or will you take that, absorb it, and guide? I pray to God, man, and I hope that you guide, because showing that type of love, it doesn't mean that you're weak. It doesn't mean that you're lame. It doesn't mean that you're whack. That love just simply means discipline over the emotion. And we talk about it all the time, man. Discipline, discipline, discipline. I served in the armed forces, carried a rifle for 23 years. Like I said before, uh, so when I look at these political things, I don't see it the same as the average person. And I know many of my counterparts don't see it the same either. Um, because at the end of the day, man, we're trying to protect one another, regardless of whose picture's up on that wall. And that's being real. Leaders lose emotional control. They lose influence, man. And I'm saying we as in leaders, we lose that emotional control, we're gonna lose all influence. That's just being real. Everybody underneath us, any subordinate, our kids, uh, the youth that we lead at the school, whatever, we lose emotional control, we lose influence, man. So the first leadership lesson I gotta say, man, we have to control our emotions. We have to. We have to control the emotional temperature before we try to change the room's temperature. We got to change us first, before anything, man. Did that, last night spark, these young kids all around the nation to look at that and just, oh, that's funny or whatever. No, man, it has a whole different vibe to that. So as leaders, we got to pause, we got to breathe, and we got to think. And when I say think, man, I always think about one person. Shout out to my good brother in Tennessee, man, Charles Noonan. He always said to me, hey, Clay, you can only soar as high as you can think. And I say it all the time, man. I teach it to my children. We can only soar as high as we can think. Because the world's got enough noise, man. We see it right now. It's so much noise out there. It's crazy. As leaders, we got to bring that real clarity. Uh, Intellect, man. We're gonna move on to that. All right, we're gonna get through these, man. If you're riding with me right now, I appreciate you because it has real purpose. And I ask that you take some of these things, man, and you implement it, man. If you're just sitting back, just listening, I'm just sitting back listening, and we don't actually implement in our environment, our circumference, our day to day, what are we really doing? We got to think beyond the moment. in the intellectual piece, the eye in the light. We got to think beyond the moment. Leaders must think deeper. We got to think deeper than these headlines and tags and posts and we got to go deeper than that, man. To really affect and change and reshape things, we got to think deeper than that. Because when it's controversial or racially offensive, let's be honest, man, that divisive content it keeps spreading. It just keeps spreading. If I take that same photo and I post it again, and I get on, and I'm like, man, this clown, this fool, blah blah blah. I know somebody personally is going to get emotionally charged, and already know where that vicious cycle is going to lead to. Because truthfully, when we do that, and we keep spreading that same garbage, that same rhetoric, it does three things. Creates that emotional reaction, like I said. It also fuels division, man. That's the biggest one. It fuels division. It fuels it, man. It's literally dumping gas on that thing on divisive fire, man. That's crazy to me. That's crazy because if it really hit the fan, trust me, man, we're gonna need each other, and it tests our leadership maturity. That's just being real. How mature are you as a leader, internally, emotionally, spiritually, mentally? Because here's the real leadership question: we got to truly think, and we got to ask ourselves. What's the real wise response that truly builds and not destroys? That's what it's about, man. You know, I got a book right over there called Men Are Buildings with the great Dr. Albert T. Reed and Big Mo. And that was our thought process on that. How can we really try to build? Even if we're there, if we're not there physically, how can we build? Because not every battle deserves our anger, man. You know, I learned that from my wife every single day. I get angry over little bitty small things, trust me. Uh, and sometimes I have to listen and hear her tell me straight up, man, that don't deserve your anger, babe. Chill out with that. But every moment deserves our awareness, though. And that's just being real, man. It deserves our awareness. And as strong leaders, man, we always have to be asking ourselves, what message are we sending with our responses, man? What message are we really sending? Same thing, man, when it comes to our kids. What message am I sending to them because they didn't take their clothes that we just took out of the dryer and it's on the couch and I start wigging out on them? You know, what message am I really sending them? If I'm doing that repetitively over and over and over and over, and every time we turn around, that's my whole vibe with them. We already know what it's going to be. And just that emotional maturity, man, it's just so important. I can't harp on that enough. Am I helping people grow or am I just venting? I hope right now in this moment, in this late hour, East Coast time, I know some of you are out in the Midwest, some of you out on the West Coast, and I appreciate you riding with me, man, because this is heartfelt right here. When you look at those two faces on that screen, you automatically, it's already embedded. You think leadership, man, and we have to address it. We have to because the intellect that I and intellect get asked, what moves us forward, man? That's all it's about. What's going to move us forward? Nobody wants to stay stagnant. Nobody wants to keep feeling how we feeling across this nation. What's going to move us forward? So that's light bulb lesson number two. You know, it's simple, man. Leaders don't just respond to events like last night. We shape the meaning of those events. That's what real leaders do, man. We shape what took place last night to cover our community, our environment, our ecosystem. That's what it's about, man. Because if we lead the people, our voice really does matter. You know, I don't care about going live and having 1,000 billion followers. That least thing on my heart, least thing on my mind. I got to look at upstairs and say, Father God, are you pleased? Are you pleased? Are you pleased with what's taking place with the two gentlemen on this screen right now? So we got to use our voice wisely. Greatness, man. What is greatness? Greatness in that light is us just rising above the low level of things, man. We gotta rise, yo. So when we talk about that G and greatness, it's not proven when things are easy. Like I said, man, great leadership is not, it's not in the calm waters, yo. It's when that storm is raging, bro. It's when you feel like quitting. It's when you don't want to go no more. It's when you feel like everything's against you. Nothing's for you. You don't have the wind to your back. pushing you in that right trajectory or that right manner. Greatness is proven when you refuse to descend to the negativity. Once again, man, uh, disrespect appears when immature leaders mirror it. That's something, man, that if you really think about it, when disrespect appears, immature leaders mirror it. We see that all across Capitol Hill. We see a whole lot of the mirroring of the craziness. Because again, if that top level, top tier leadership is on some disrespectful craziness, you start seeing people trying to cover for it. Well, this person didn't do it. It was a staffer that did it. And all of this other ignorant crazy. It's not real leadership, man. I don't care what no one says. That's not real leadership. But transformational leaders rise above all of that. We rise above that, man. So listen carefully when I tell you this, man. History remembers leaders who elevate the whole, all of humanity, regardless of what color you are, man. You know, when you think of the best leaders that you know, or the best leaders that's been presented to us as a people, you know, we're bombarded with it constantly, every single day. You really think about it, man. Uh, they try to elevate, man, society, not add fuel to that fire and division, bro. That's not what they tried to do. You know, we just celebrated MLK's, holiday. I've heard Caucasian kids talk about MLK, Hispanic kids talk about MLK, and it's a phenomenal thing when you hear the overall gist. Nobody's saying that man was perfect. We all know he wasn't perfect, but he done enough for society for him to be remembered all these years later as someone that these little kids can look up and inspire to. That's what great leaders do, man. His personal life and all of that, that's one thing, but he tried to infuse something in us, man, that we could all take away something that man did on a higher frequency, a higher level. You know, leaders speak with dignity, man. At least strive to, try to, really speak with dignity. And this is not preschool. We all know what real dignity really is. And a lot of the things that we're seeing, man, it's not adding up. It's not right. Exact. And Sifu, Raphael, and I on our Unified Leadership podcast, we talked about acting with restraint. That's another thing leaders do. Leaders act with real restraint, man. You have to have restraint within you to know there's certain things, man, even if I'm feeling it, I can't act upon that, man. I can't say that. Shout out to ET, man. He said the other day, man, just shut your mouth, man, and cry out to the creator and watch, things open up, man, in the manner in which they're supposed to. Uh, and truly to stand without hatred, bro. You can't tell me you're a leader, dog, if you got real hate. Because we're gonna see through you like glass, man. You glass Joe at that point. If you got real hate in your body, bro, you can't call yourself a leader, bro. Because true leaders stand without hatred, stand without, cruelty, ripping families apart, putting people in precarious situations that, man, like, yo, they can't even function, bro. That's not real leadership, bro. I know there's always a yin to the yang. I saw a guy post the other day. He was like, man, if you want to put flags of your country on your driver's license and you want to put other country flags on your social media and all of that, get the hell out of this country and go back to that country. And you are a promise to God. And I was just looking at my phone. I'm just looking at this cat. And I was just like, man, I can kind of understand what he's saying. I was born here in this country too. But the flip side of me, I visited over 50 different countries across the world, man. And I understand that, hey, man, some of them countries, that's where their root is. That's where they're tied to. That's where their cultural root is. And they come back here or come here. I mean, come on, man. You got to look at that from both sides of the house, man. That's just me. Uh, and there's the hard truth. And you could disagree strongly. without dehumanizing people. You know what I'm saying? We can do it without dehumanizing people because once we strip humanity away, leadership dies. It's pretty simple. Light bulb lesson number three. You don't prove strength by going low. We're striving for that higher frequency, man. We prove our greatness by rising, man, by speaking what is going to empower, not tear down. Greatness is truly a more elevation, man. Health, protecting our mind, our heart, and our community. That light within us, man. That H, that protection of our mind, that mental health. A lot of times we think about jogging and running when we think about health, going to the doctor when we think about health. Yeah, that's true enough. But there's a sense of the healthiness, peace of mind, and protecting our mind and our heart, our spiritual acumen. Those are the things that really dang on are important, and that shows the true character of a man. So with that H, when society is emotionally charged, as leaders, we got to protect that mental health, man, of ourselves and those around us. We gotta protect the emotional aspect of it, the emotional health, uh, the environments in which we serve. We gotta protect that health. So everything that comes out of this weapon right here, man, oh man, it is so crucial. It is so crucial, man, because they say, man, what's in here usually comes out here. We know that. Because that constant exposure to negativity, you all, in that division, that whole racism talk and all the craziness that we see on a day to day, that hateful imagery, man, it poisons the spirit, man. If you don't know how to guard it, and you'll be consuming it, man, and you'll start feeling that disdain over and over and over and over, feeling that disdain. And as leaders, we got to fight back, bro. We got to ask ourselves, are we feeding that anger? We got to ask ourselves, are we feeding the growth of that same garbage, bro? We pour water on a plant, it's supposed to grow. And we know, man, that certain things we just got to starve out. We got to starve it out. Are we absorbing that toxicity, man? We see so much toxic crap going on around us. And are we absorbing it? As leaders, man, we can't afford to do that. Uh, got to ask ourselves, are we helping people to heal? Or are we hurting people? We either helping people or we hurting people. It's one, two, and the same, man. Because strong leaders were emotional stabilizers, man. We're like that thermostat. Shout out to my man Jesse James Dawson. Jesse James always talk about that thermostat, man. You know, if you're a thermometer, you up and down all the time. But if you that thermostat, bro, you rocking at that same, level all the time. It's not about being an emotional amplifier, is all I'm saying, you all. So that's light bulb lesson number four. Don't spread emotional infection, man. We trying to heal the sick, not spread to the sick. We got to help individuals create that emotional direction as leaders. We got to guard our mindset. We got to guard our heart. We got to guard our spiritual. Man, that spiritual is so potent right now, more so than it's probably ever been. And that's the only way we could guide one another as leaders is we intact with those mainframe things, and it's all coinciding with that light. And that brings me to that last one, you all, truth. You know, that truth, man. Truth shall set you free in all things. You know, we lead with principle, not pressure. That's the truth of the matter, man. Where we are, based off of the things that's happening right now, we lead with principle, not just pressure, man. And that truth in light, that T, man, it encompasses all the other ones, the love, the intellect, the greatness, and the health. Because truth is truly not political, man. It's not. It's not a political thing. Politics is politics. We know it's all sorts of lies and debauchery and all the craziness, like I talked about, man, with the political impropriety. All of that's real. If you feel that within your spirit, you know 100% that is real. Truth is not political. Truth is square. Truth is real. Truth is simply put, man, it's truth. And leadership truth, is going to always look at the aspect of respect really mattering. If the respect don't matter, if the respect's out the door, come on, man. What are we talking about? Society, humanity, all of us collectively really matter as leaders. You know what I'm saying? Our character, that moral fiber, it really matters. Our influence carries that real responsibility. It really matters. So again, as leaders, man, we got to stand for the dignity, you all. We got to stand for the respect, and more importantly, man, like I said, man, our babies that's coming behind us, our babies deserve it, man. If anything that I've said tonight didn't resonate with you, I pray this one does, man. Our babies deserve it, regardless of politics, regardless of race, regardless of opinion. Our babies deserve it. My 11-year-old deserves for me to look at him in the face and say, hey, man, yeah, that wasn't right on no level. You know what I'm saying? Some will look at that photo and it won't mean nothing to them because in their heart, in their mind, they see black people as monkeys. That's real talk, yo. I mean, I was in high school, middle school. I heard the little jokes and all of that. Black people come from monkeys. They look like monkeys. It's ludicrous, yo. Like literally ludicrous, man. Like I say, man, this ain't no craziness. I'm not saying anything that anyone will see this live stream doesn't know or understand. But because it's right, man, uh, in terms of us looking at it from that leadership perspective, light bulb lesson number 5 and final, that truth, man. We know leadership is not about winning no type of arguments, man. It's about preserving who we are as a people, humanity across the board. Truth anchors us as leaders, man, when our emotions try to get us off course. That's what really anchors us is the real truth. And to speak on that truth, I would never tell anyone how to feel about what took place last night and what they're seeing today. Charlie Kirk got shot. I didn't try to tell nobody how to feel about that, bro. Young Tamir Rice got shot. I didn't try to tell someone else how to feel about that because I still have to be within that same principle of I must respect what people feel. But to agree, to disagree, hey, I know as a leader, man, the frequency that I got to move on. And I'm asking you, man, in closing remarks, man, bringing the whole entire light of what's in us together, man. Uh, this is once again, man. It's not about politics, man. It's about leadership maturity, man, and that wasn't on display. There's no, I don't care what Roland Martin say. I don't care what the Wolf Blitzer or whoever out there, Don Lemon, man, they all got their opinions to say what they feel. I know what I'm saying right now. You know, Leadership maturity in difficult times, man. How are we showing up with that? Because when the world becomes emotional, man, and divided and reactive, I know as a leader, man, I got to be the calm in chaos, yo. I have to be. I got to be clear in the confusion. I got to be strong in my own being, man, for my children without any form of hatred. I have to be, man. Like, that's just being honest, man. I got to be firm and fair in my dealings, without any type of malice or cruelty. Like, I have to be, man. And I know that love and light is not a weakness. The creator loves me, but at the same time, he knows how to chastise me too, man. And I gotta adhere to that. So remember, man, LIGHT, light. You know what I'm saying? Love, control our emotional reactions as leaders. Intellect, man, we gotta think beyond the moment. Think deeper. Think beyond that moment. Greatness rise against the negativity, man. We either build or we destroy. And we about building. 100%. health, protect our spirit, you know, protect our mental space, man. You know, don't get caught up in all the craziness, man. You know what I'm saying? You look at it from a different perspective, man. I beg you. And lastly, truth, man. Just stand on principle. No pressure. We just stand on principle, man. You know, I'm not mad at anyone. You know what I mean? I just know what time it is. And I know the creator gave time its time. You know what I mean? And all things will be taken care of unto what we do every day, how we step forward in our day-to-day dealings. Darkness cannot drive out darkness, man. Only light can do that. Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can drive out that darkness. You know, so tonight I leave you all, man, with this, man. Be the leader who brings light into these dark spaces, man. Bring that light into your children. You know, bring that light into your people, your family. Bring that light into people of other ethnicity. You know, speak that light to them, man. Because some of them truly just don't know. And there's things with them that you just don't dang on know. But man, speak that light, man. Be that beacon and keep building, keep growing. Love you all out there, man. Those two faces on the screen, uh, hey, I uplift them in prayer. You know, hey, I don't have no heaven nor hell to put nobody in. I just know right is right, wrong is wrong. And what we displayed, you know, and saw last night, nah, bro, that ain't real leadership. Love you all out there. All we need is 7. 7 is God. And with that, we say peace.